A single mother faces public rejection, and let's just say she doesn't take it well. The reaction is something else, and you wouldn't believe how it all unfolds. Let's get into it.
Don't tell people you got kids. How do you think those women with 5 kids end up with a man that takes care of them? You think they bring their 5 kids around on the first date or tell them about all their kids on the first date? Most of the time, those women don't tell them about any kids until that man is hooked.
What?
Okay, then she said, oh, well, I got kids. She don't say how many. She eases it on in there. Well, I got kids. And then the man is all begging to meet the kids. And she's like, no. And then he's like trying to prove himself. I promise I'll be good. I need to know if this is real first. So I need to know. So he proves himself and invests in her even more.
Watch out for these games, guys.
And then when he finally gets to meet them kids, like it's the grand prize, 5 kids, and he's honored. Okay, this is how you got to do it. You got to make your kids seem like the ultimate prize. Oh, you don't get to meet my kids. You don't even tell him you have kids until he's ready to commit fully to you and is paying all your bills. Okay? He don't need to know. It doesn't matter to him if he ain't gonna be the stepdaddy. Okay? They don't need to know your business. So you are serious. By that time, they have fallen for you. You have put it on them. They can't imagine their lives without you. So they're not gonna care if you tell them you got kids after. But you gotta get them to fall for you first.
Well, I'm out, man.
Starting a relationship with lies never ends well. This is horrible advice, and men should watch out for this.
If you're dating a single mom, you should know you're not going to be her #1 priority. The kids will always come first. Just heads up. This is giving that she actually is a good parent. I mean, if she's not, then you don't want to date her at all.
That's a good point. You've got a good point.
She really has a good point. I'm not gonna lie.
If I was, one of the things I would not do, I would never deal with a woman with children. Whether you're lion or tiger, no children. Especially if you're going to be a lion. If you're going to be a lion, make your own pride. The only way I would deal with children is after 35 and a tiger. See, lions are social cats. That means you're going to have a social life. That means you're going to have a masculine wardrobe. That means you're going to have a lot of things. The tiger, you're going to have a wardrobe. You're going to have your wolf pack. You're going to have a passport because you are traveling like your godfather.
The problem with this situation is that you will be expected to handle the financial part, but without raising them, because it's not your place to do so. So that's why men avoid this.
And y'all try to sit and act like y'all value don't drop. It does. It's not to say that you're not a good woman. No. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is you do have to take into account the fact that your value in different categories is down compared to a woman with no kids. It is. So you have to find ways to bring your value up so you could be more valuable than a woman with no kids. It's women with no kids that I'm way more valuable than them in different categories. And it all depends on what that man values the most.
So it makes no sense to do whatever we want and say nothing will change.
It all depends on what that man values the most as to whether he's going to choose you or he's going to choose that woman with no kids.
I have a whole kid. And what?
I'm sorry you got a whole kid.
And what? And what?
I'm sorry you got a whole kid.
And what? And what? And what?
I'm sorry you got a whole
And
kid.
what? And what?
I didn't say
Okay then.
Police! Police! Help!
Why is she touching and pushing him like that? I have no clue. Not his child, not his responsibility. His choice, his preference.
One day, I matched with this guy on Bumble who was very, very handsome. He was a documentary filmmaker, curly brown hair, profile said 6'2". At the time, I was going through an identity crisis, so I just so happened to dye my hair back to brunette, although previous to that, I was blonde. I was on this dating app, and unfortunately, I hadn't updated any of my photos to reflect the way that I looked, although the photos that I did have were just like taken 2-3 months ago.
I beg your pardon?
It's not like my physical appearance looked that different. It's just that my hair color was very different.
It is misleading, to say the least.
So me and this guy are literally talking for 2 days. We're hitting it off. The conversation is flowing back and forth. And most of the time, guys will just waste your time and not ask you out on a date. Or if they ask you out on a date, they'll ask you to like go for a walk in the park. Days after us matching, we are on a date. I meet him for the first time. He's exiting his car and he's walking towards me. And as he's walking towards me, I could tell he has like a confused look on his face.
What do you mean by that?
And I've been on many dates. I've never been accused of being a catfish. I've never had somebody disappointed when they saw me in real life. In fact, I've had guys tell me that they are surprised and that I actually look better in person, that I look better than in my photos. He gives me a hug. We walk to the restaurant. We sit down. We're ordering drinks and he's just asking him random questions, trying to make small talk. And he is just being very, very odd and standoffish. And at one point during the date, he looks at me and he says, "You look a little different than on your photos."
Any normal person would be upset if their date showed up looking different.
I was like, yeah, I actually dyed my hair. I went darker. I've been a brunette in the past. Like, this is actually close to my natural hair color.
Are you serious?
And I was just tired of the blonde because it was ruining my hair. And then he tells me that he thinks that that is actually misleading and that I should have updated my dating profile photos to match how my hair looks now. So then I ask him, well, would that have changed your opinion of me? Would that have made you not want to go out on a date? And he kind of laughs and shrugs it off and says, well, you know, I do like blondes. And that just like rubbed me the wrong way. Anyway, we end up splitting some appetizers on a couple of drinks and I end up leaving and thinking to myself, like, this is probably not going to go anywhere because that guy was super, super weird.
Good riddance.
That man dodged a bullet.
Shows that you raised a great son to be able to accept a woman for her struggles and what she's going through. I don't know.
I would not say it's commendable for a man to be with a single mom. I think if your son is choosing a single mom, his value's fairly low in the sexual marketplace and he probably doesn't have better options. But to be clear, I think in this scenario, right, you got a single mom who by dating her by default, you're going to take on excess responsibility without the corresponding authority, meaning you can't discipline the kid in certain ways. It's not your kid and you have to then listen to her and she takes lead on the parenting aspect.
And men are natural leaders, so when she stops him from leading each time, that will have a negative impact on him.
Which removes your authority as a man, so that's very difficult for him to play that role. He still has to usually take on the financial responsibilities of caring for that child because he's caring for the mom. He also has to help out with the kid, take soccer practice, whatever. So it's usually an L all the way around. A lot more take on their side, give on his side with very little in return.
And the worst part is that despite him doing his best, sometimes he will hear the kid say, "You are not my father." And that is a deep cut, especially if he's doing his best.
Many of the men who won't date women with children, a lot of them already have children and baby mamas. It's kind of strange because they can't afford to take care of a woman and her child because they have to pay child support to the child that is obviously still theirs. And, you know, so a lot of times men can't afford to take care of their kid, your kid, and any future children that may be in, you know, in the future. So a lot of times this is also why they got too many child supports already. But they don't want to admit it, or they don't want to talk about that part.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
It's not that. It's the fact that it's another man's responsibility. If it's ours, we will take it with gratitude. If it's not, it doesn't feel right.
I just feel like it's not something that I would be interested in because I just don't want to deal with somebody else. That aspect. My child's father, he's non-existent. You know, he comes every birthday, that's it, or whatever. So I have no issues, no man knocking down or like saying, don't be around my son. But for me personally, I don't want to date anybody with a child.
But isn't that hypocritical because you have one?
I just said I'm a hypocrite.
Rule number 1. Stop using dating apps. Her life, her choice. His life, his choice. It's really quite simple.
Why are men so hesitant to date women with kids? Why are we so hesitant?
Too much of a burden. I'm not them child's kids. Get them to here. You and them kids. How I feel about it.
I don't want to feed you, let alone feed somebody else.
Then I can't discipline them kids. They ain't never had no mother structure in their life. You ain't got no structure in your life. I'm waking up with toys all in the mother bed and chips and shit. Yeah, you cussing they
You let him beat on me. You let him beat on me all day. Don't do nothing to him.
Up here eating, trying to eat while I eat it.
It's a really heavy responsibility that not everyone can endure.
Trying to get a snack and late at night, step on a toy, hurt your damn foot.
He's 6 years old. He say he telling me in my ear he the man of the house.
Look at you and say,
"You not my daddy."
Dog.
I trying to deal with that,
man.
Go ahead. What did I say?
It's a lot that come with that, man, and I don't think women realize that.
Hey, and Christmas come around, birthday. Am I obligated? Your whole family make me feel like I'm obligated to buy this or something. Been failing in class ever since I met you. Yeah. But they want me to come in and provide some damn structure. Y'all like, what the was before I got here? Hey, come on, bro.
How you gonna provide structure you can't even whoop?
I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I go to reach for a belt. She looking at me. You not his daddy.
This is a really complicated matter. What do you guys think? Is the man supposed to step up and provide structure, or is it not his place to do so?
Single mom, it is so hard to date. Like, I feel like I do not have the energy, the capacity, or the time to go out with these people because I'm almost like, if you're taking time from me and my kids, you need to be worth it. And then I go on a date for 5 minutes and I'm just like, I'm paying a babysitter right now. I had to beg my mother. To watch these kids for you. And in the middle of the day, I'm just like pissed off. Like, I'm so irritated that I hired a babysitter or that I had to beg my family for you.
We never asked for those things.
So guys, can we please really consider not wasting a single mom's time on a date? And I'm not trying to be like that girl, but it's just, man, it is not easy.
It is not easy for us as well. We also have life problems and responsibilities.
I'm gonna tell you why men cannot date you or choose not to date you if you have kids with another man, right? If you're a single mother, I give you all my respect. If you're a single mother raising children, I give you all my respect, honestly. But the sad truth is, men are not gonna wanna deal with those kids if they are from another baby daddy. They're gonna have to put time, effort, money into another man's kids. Despite how beautiful you are, despite what you have to offer, it is a headache for most men. And that's why, for example, let's say Catherine from the Ace family, she's gonna have a hard time finding a guy that's gonna marry her. She has 3 kids. You know what I'm saying? But there are men that don't care. And if they love you and they love you unconditional, they will not care.
If she tells the man the truth from the beginning, that she has kids, there is a chance he might like her for being honest. But if she hides that fact and only reveals it later, that man might lose interest.
And he'll still stay with you and he'll do what they gotta do. You know, it just is what it is. And that's that.
I have noticed some men don't like to date women that have kids.
Is this not, is it normally men who already have children or men who don't have children?
Sometimes it's men that already have kids, and which is sad because it's like you already have kids, but you don't want to date someone that has kids.
Do you think that the economic times that we're in has a lot to do with that? Because I can see that a man who possibly has children with someone else, and then they come into a relationship with a woman who has children, they may not want to carry that financial load of the responsibility of having to care for this child also.
Right. Economically, I don't know. That's a tough question, actually. It's very tough because, like I said, everything plays a part in everything. Economically, yes, it is hard. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Because when you look at like back then, it was much more prevalent for a man to be open to taking a woman with children. It was easier to do that, especially when you consider being able to afford a bigger family back then.
Everything is more expensive than it used to be.
Single mothers on dating apps, should they even be allowed on there? I'm not so sure, because whenever you match with a single mother on a dating app, they always within 5 minutes launch into the same single mother rant where they go, my child is my world, and if you want to get to know me, you got to understand that I'm a mother first and a woman second and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, whoa, 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 take it easy.
That's why it's best to avoid dating apps.
Your hands on my child is not like telling my child to go to bed.
Get your kid out my house then.
I wanna
No, but keep your kids in check. That's the thing. Keep your kids in check, then I won't even have to go there.
Yes or no, do y'all think it's okay for the step parents to put hands on the kids?
No, I don't think it's okay for a step parent to put hands on a kid, but I do think that in a situation in which the parent, the biological parent is not parenting in the right way, that other parent is gonna have
They
to
have no
step up and
choice.
parent. So I
So it
feel
is
like
okay.
so no. This is what I feel like. I feel like if a step parent ever feels like they are in a position that they have to discipline a child,
Her argument is getting more and more confusing. It's like she's telling you to step in and not step in at the same time.
So it happened again. I had a date cancel on me and we were supposed to go out for dinner tonight as a single mom. So it's a few hours before the dinner. I get a Instagram message that he's not gonna be able to make it. He has to bail. This was a guy from my DMs and he's out of town. He said he was coming into town, wanted to take me out for dinner. I said sure, cleared my schedule, made sure that I used one of my 4 free nights a month to meet this guy. And the funny thing is that I knew this was gonna happen. I had a feeling a few days ago and told a few friends that this guy was gonna stand me up. So I guess at least he had the decency to send me a message and let me know that he wasn't gonna make it. I just don't get it.
He at least told her he wasn't going to show up, and I respect him for doing that. The worst thing a date can do is not show up and ghost afterward. Well, guys, that was all for today. We'll be back soon.